On February 24th, 2025, a grim and heartbreaking case unfolded in St. Petersburg, Florida. 16-year-old Miranda Corsett was reported missing to the Gulfport Police Department. Initially, her disappearance didn't raise immediate alarms. Miranda had a history of running away. But this time was different. This time, she would never return home. A concerned witness contacted the St. Petersburg police with disturbing information. They claimed to have knowledge of a possible kidnapping and homicide involving the missing teen.
St. Petersburg police say a missing persons case turned into a kidnapping and homicide.
What investigators uncovered was a horrifying case of luring, captivity, and unimaginable violence, one of the most brutal crimes the area had seen in years. Miranda Corsett was an orphan, a young girl struggling to find her place in the world. She was not just a statistic. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, and, most heartbreakingly, a mother. Her 11-month-old baby, too young to understand the tragedy, was being cared for by her aunt. That child would grow up never knowing the mother who gave them life. Like many teens, Miranda sought connection. She was active on social media and dating apps, unaware that these platforms, meant to foster relationships, could also be hunting grounds for those with sinister intentions. It was on one of these apps that she met 35-year-old Stephen Gress. On February 14th, 2025, Miranda traveled to his home at 270 827th Avenue. A duplex in St. Petersburg. Perhaps she believed she had found a friend, someone who understood her. Perhaps she was simply looking for an escape from a difficult life. Whatever her reasons, she left home that day and unknowingly walked into a nightmare. After initially returning home, she inexplicably went back the following day. That decision sealed her fate. For several days, Miranda remained with Gress and his domestic partner, 37-year-old Michelle Brandes. The couple had a criminal past, and as neighbors later recalled, they had a reputation for trouble. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the horror that unfolded within those walls. At some point, a dispute arose. Gress and Brandes accused Miranda of stealing jewelry.
20th, at the house, there was some type of dispute over some missing jewelry.
What should have been a minor conflict escalated into a storm of unspeakable cruelty.
So from the 20th through the 24th, she was beaten and tortured because they could not find this piece of jewelry.
According to arrest records, Miranda was beaten and tortured for nearly a week. The details are gut-wrenching. Her body bore bruises and wounds, a silent testament to her suffering. How long did she cry out for help? How many moments did she spend hoping, praying that someone would come to save her? But no one came. Her captors showed no mercy. Eventually, they ended her suffering in the most horrific way imaginable. Miranda was suffocated, her head wrapped in plastic until she stopped breathing. Alone, terrified, and in pain. Her last moments were a nightmare no child should ever endure. After Miranda's death, Gress and Brandes took extreme measures to dispose of her remains.
Mr. Gress placed her body in his car along with his domestic partner Michelle Brandes, and they drove her to Largo.
Police believe that sometime between February 20th and February 24th, Gress transported her body to a residence in Largo. In what may have been a moment of desperation or chilling calculation, they dismembered her lifeless form and discarded her in a dumpster at 2893 14th Avenue. S.E. Ruskin, a child thrown away like trash. Detectives later found the dumpster and initiated a painstaking search to recover Miranda's remains. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the community, leaving many to wonder how such horror could have gone unnoticed. As the investigation progressed, Brandes eventually turned herself in to police, leading to her arrest on charges of first-degree murder. Gress, too, was taken into custody, facing the same charge along with an additional count of kidnapping. Authorities warned that the case was still active and that more charges could be forthcoming. Public reaction was a mix of grief, outrage, and reflection. Many were heartbroken over the loss of a girl who never had the chance to escape the dangers that surrounded her. Others pointed out systemic failures. Why wasn't more done when she first went missing? Why are young, at-risk girls not given the urgency they deserve when they disappear? A mother gone, a grandmother mourning, a baby left without the woman who brought them into the world. Some were particularly disturbed by the grim reality behind the statistics. Teenage girls, especially runaways, are often preyed upon by much older men. One comment encapsulated the tragic truth. She wasn't even 18, so sad. And she had a baby? Others pointed to the unsettling fact that a high percentage of teenage pregnancies involve adult men, raising even more troubling questions about society's failure to protect vulnerable youth. As of March 15, 2025, both Stephen Gress and Michelle Brandis have been charged with first-degree murder and are in custody awaiting trial. Tragically, authorities have confirmed that the contents of the dumpster where Miranda's dismembered body was discarded were transported to a waste-to-energy facility and have likely been incinerated, making the recovery of her remains unlikely. The investigation remains active, with law enforcement officials continuing their efforts to ensure justice is served for Miranda. Miranda's story is not just a crime, it is a warning. It forces us to confront the dangers that lurk in the digital age. Social media and dating apps have made it easier than ever for predators to find and manipulate vulnerable teenagers. It also raises questions about how law enforcement and society at large perceive missing teens, especially those labeled as habitual runaways. Miranda's story is a heartbreaking reminder that no child should be written off, no disappearance should be ignored, and most importantly, the system must do better to ensure that young people, regardless of their circumstances, are protected from those who seek to exploit and harm them. As the legal proceedings against Gress and Brandes continue, one can only hope that justice for Miranda Corsett will come, not just in the courtroom, but in real, systemic changes that prevent tragedies like hers from ever happening again. Miranda Corsett was more than a name in a case file. She was a daughter, a granddaughter, a mother, and she deserves so much more than this.